In this video, we have another storyline video for Modern Warfare 3 Zombies and how this hints and gives us insight to Call of Duty 2024 Zombies, rumored to be called Black Ops Gulf War. The return to round base that we will be seeing later this year. So hyped for this. Anyways, in this video, I want to follow up on the prior video that I made that focused on Terminus Island, which is one of the rumored maps for this game, as apparently there might be at least 2 maps on launch, and we delved into the backstory of Fletcher, one of the main characters in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, who seems to have direct ties to that Terminus Island map that we will jump back to in the past in the 90s. But in this video I want to focus on a follow-up with another character who I believe exists to tease a future map, Crystal Miller. As I said, this video is kind of a sequel, so to get the full context and understanding, it will benefit you to also watch that video, which will delve into the backstory of Terminus Island, which I will have linked to down in this video's description, or you can click on screen if you want to pause this video, watch that one, and then come back for better understanding. Just in case you don't want to, I'll try and give an as quick as possible recap of the wider points of it that are relevant here. Essentially, look into the lore of Jack Fletcher in Modern Warfare Zombies, it becomes abundantly clear he spent a lot of time at a place, like I said, known as Terminus Island in the 90s, at exactly the point we know Treyarch's next Zombies experience is set. This seems to match up with Cold War's story and some leaks about the next game's maps from data miners. All of this together essentially means that one of Fletcher's big purposes in Modern Warfare Zombies was to use his backstory to tease upcoming maps that are set in the 90s. After working on that video, I began to wonder if another character may exist who is being put in place to set up the other next game map we've seen leaked. We know from prior leaks, and I've already made a whole video as well discussing about this that I will also have linked in the description, another launch map is seemingly set in a town in West Virginia that could potentially be some sort of transit/town reimagining based on the leaks and rumors we have seen thus far. And not only do we have leaks to back this up, but we also have in-game intel in Cold War Zombies teasing at this location. This would mean that whatever character we are looking for would have history with West Virginia and Eddie Richtofen's activities there after Cold War. This journey led me to Crystal Miller. My initial interest with her came when I heard her make a passing comment during a radio that was not her first rotten rodeo.
Lucky for you, this ain't my first rotten rodeo. I know what you're up against.
When I heard her say this, it all began to come together in my mind, and I began deep diving into the radios to find out more. Crystal is the quartermaster for Operation Deadbolt, master of all things weaponry. She supplies guns to the operators, as well as studying the Pack-a-Punch machine, weapons used by zombies like the Mangler's cannon, and alternative ammo types. She was previously a sergeant within the United States Marine Corps, but was handpicked by the CIA due to, you guessed it here, her prior experience with Phenomena. This reiterates exactly what made that initial quote so interesting. She has dealt with zombies before and has lived to tell the tale. I began to look for information about Crystal's hometown or where she was born, in hopes that it could give us the confirmation we are looking for, but it looks like, as of now, we just don't have that information. However, Crystal has a very standout feature that we have rarely ever seen in zombies before this point, an accent of someone from the American South.
Need guns? Need gear? Need a clue? You come see Crystal.
Now, before we continue with all of the other storyline lore implications, etc., I first have a very awesome message to share with you, so stay tuned and I'll be back to discuss lots more very soon. Enjoy. Greetings, mighty lords and aspiring conquerors. Are you prepared to immerse yourself in the epic realm of strategic warfare and relentless conquest? Look no further than Millions Lords World Conquest, this free-to-play, groundbreaking mobile game that places the fate of kingdoms squarely in your hands. Discover the features that set Millions Lords apart. Expansion and tactics. Say farewell to timers and complicated micromanagement. This game propels you straight into conquest with an unwavering focus on expansion and tactical brilliance. Play at your own pace, whether you prefer the thrill of swift attacks or the satisfaction of meticulous strategy. Million Lords allows you to play the game on your terms. Plan your moves, execute intricate strategies, and conquer kingdoms with finesse. Experience clans and friendship. Engage in diplomatic endeavors to expand your clan, or wield the sword of conquest against enemies. The choice is yours. Forge powerful alliances or embark on a solo journey for undisputed glory. Leagues and seasons. Ascend the leaderboard each season, proving your worthiness for top-tier rewards. Progress to higher leagues and embark on new conquests, all while retaining your hard-earned loot for enhancing your performance in the next season. There is a deep talent tree. Immerse yourself in the RPG-like skill tree, allowing you to tailor your lord's abilities to perfection. Whether you lean towards offense, defense, speed, or strategy, Millions Lords offers a rich tapestry of choices to shape your path to domination. The War of the Kingdoms unfolds. In the relentless war, every battle is a crucial turning point. Lords rise, kingdoms fall, and the very essence of conquest strategy becomes the linchpin to domination. Deploy your strategy, witness the expansion of your kingdom, and emerge as the wisest lord in the ultimate battle for supremacy. Observe cities in your kingdom flourishing as you expand your influence across the vast landscape. Form clans, craft strategic alliances and strategy, and charge into war shoulder to shoulder with fellow lords. With leagues and seasons, experience the thrill of seasonal renewal. Every season heralds a fresh war, a renewed battle, and more kingdoms to conquer. Customize and prepare, gear up for war, meticulously prepare for battle, and brace for conquest. Every lord in the game thirsts for domination, and every season presents new opportunity to showcase your strategic prowess. So join the conquest today. Are you ready to ascend the ranks and lead your kingdom to unbridled glory? Waste no time, download Millions Lord World Conquest for free via the link in the description. It's both on iOS and Android devices. Unleash your strategic genius, conquer rival kingdoms, and etch your name in the annals of conquest history. Dominate or be dominated, the choice is yours. And thank you to them for sponsoring this video. Southern characters are few and far between in the history of this mode, and so the choice to make her so obviously that way feels very intentional to me. This leads me to believe that this accent and her history with the undead is very likely a hint that she grew up in West Virginia during the time of Treyarch's next title in the 90s. Her physical age, judging by looks alone, as that is the only information we have, also aligns with this information. She looks to be in her 40s potentially, which is plenty old enough to have been a child during the events that we have yet to see unfold taking place in the 90s. Given these factors, we can very solidly assume that Crystal was involved with whatever happened in West Virginia. She was very likely alive to see the construction of the wall and managed to survive whatever it was that Eddie Richtofen did there. As we know from Black Ops Cold War, in that intel I mentioned before, apparently sometime after the events of the Forsaken in 1985, after Eddie Richtofen shut down Requiem, a cover story was sent out in West Virginia. Local citizens of a specific county were informed that a nuclear power plant had experienced a tower failure and was leaking radiation. Most locals were moved by the government into the next county over. The intel also states, however, that a small group of locals were not so keen on giving up their land to the government, radiation or not. Reports suggest that some families doubled down on their rights as American citizens and refused to leave, instead choosing to stay and protect their property. It is very likely Crystal's family was one of these families, and her experience with using weaponry to defend their land at such a young age may even be what drove her to become a weapons expert. That could be. There is enough information here to draw those parallels. So if this theory is indeed correct, and if Crystal is from West Virginia, what can we establish from her lore as well as Cold War? What kind of things did she see? Well, like I said, we know that the director of Requiem, or ex-director, however we want to refer to him, Eddie Richtofen, just after Cold War, began his work in West Virginia, with loading 5,000 tons of steel that were brought in to begin construction of a planned wall, and local mining technology was gathered and used to create a large tunnel network underground as well. As early as June of 1985, he began to hire and relocate personnel to the area. 53 scientists, 32 military personnel, 18 operations personnel, and 4 custodians were the initial hire. This comment after that in the intel of "we'll see how many make the month" implies he planned to continue hiring, though. There were also several front companies established by the CIA, some to funnel money to the state/local governments, keeping them satisfied, others to bring in supplies for whatever they were building. With this in mind, it seems as though the director moves the American headquarters of his operation to West Virginia, and his prisoners, the Requiem Heads and Strike Team, to Terminus Island after Cold War, to both apprehend and potentially experiment on them. So it stands to reason, if Crystal is from West Virginia and lived there around the time she experienced Eddie's actions firsthand, this gave her a strong experience with the undead and firearms that would lead her to being selected as Operation Deadbolt's quartermaster. But yeah, what exactly is Eddie Richtofen, or should I say was Eddie Richtofen, doing in the 90s with this town in West Virginia? He closed it off from the public, he was building this wall, he was building tunnels, and it most likely has something to do with his plan for Project Janus, that we still don't know what it is, but it maybe requires a large gateway to be opened up to the Dark Ether. That could be one thing that is being constructed here in this town, but I think this will make for a really awesome launch map, and we can get 2 very different maps. One following Peck heading over to Terminus Island to rescue our characters, and then a completely different map that might be more Richtofen focused as to what he is up to there, and we can have those 2 storylines maybe proceed in the post-launch story and then coincide in parallel for an epic conclusion. So to outline Miller's West Virginia experience, if she was in fact in West Virginia and survived, her CIA selection also lends more credence to our prior discussion about Eddie or his son Samuel's involvement, which I've previously talked about in prior videos, so I'm not going to delve too much into Samuel's or theorize Samuel's backstory because I've mentioned it many times. But I'll have a link to another video in this video's description talking more about that. I apologize, I am directing you guys to so many videos, but I just don't want to continuously keep repeating the same things over and over. Anyways, it continuously seems as though someone high up in the government has knowledge that only Eddie or someone he directly spoke to would have. Perhaps we are teetering on the edge of another surprise Eddie reveal, or is that too close to Cold War's ending? I mean, that was the big climax and the thing that shocked us, and I would like to see Eddie play a more dominant role in the next game, which we will likely see, but would they play that same reveal trick in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies? Because I do think he will make an appearance at some point, but is it going to be in the same vein as Cold War Zombies, where it's just a little cameo at the end of the story, or is he going to play a more dominant role even in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies? If he is indeed still alive and playing a background role in the story, setting events in motion, would this be too close to Cold War's ending? Are we being tricked into thinking it's Eddie, only for the twist at the end to be that it is an alive and adult Samuel, his potential son, who might have accidentally been burnt alive when Gregory Weaver tried to assassinate Eddie Richtofen, probably not actually knowing who he was, prior to the events of Black Ops Cold War, which it would explain why he has scars on his eye and throat. But then somehow Samuel might have ended up being trapped in the dark ether, but then maybe Eddie, during the events in the 90s, or something to do with Project Janus, could have brought him back from the dark ether, and maybe he could then be revealed throughout Modern Warfare 3 Zombies' storyline. But I'm not sure how many people are even paying attention to that story to know what's even going on, if you get what I mean. It seems like a very niche thing, Samuel. I think the wider Zombies community doesn't really have any idea about Richtofen's son. Of course, they see his portrait in The Forsaken with Richtofen and his wife and son, but they don't really know much about the allusions in the intel for the game. So if he was to be brought in as a character in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, for example, I think people would be very confused. Of course, I'm guessing he'll be explored further in the 90s game. That could be even an integral part of that storyline, but it kind of feels like we need that 90s game first before he's introduced to the story. If he's introduced from Modern Warfare 3 Zombies and there's lots of fans really confused, but then that's to be explained next year, I don't know, it just makes sense that we would see the 90s game first before this, and maybe at one point in time that was planned. I feel like development has been so hectic. I'm sure COD 2024, well, we know it was planned to be last year in 2023 at one point in time, but plans were changed to give them an extension for their development a couple years ago, so things have been shifting around. Maybe Modern Warfare 3 Zombies at one point in time might have not even been attached to this Modern Warfare game. It could have just been a part of Warzone or something like that to release after the 90s game. But what do you guys think? Is Crystal Miller perhaps going to be revealed as a native of West Virginia? And do you think that her backstory will give us more information on the West Virginia map that stands opposite Terminus Island as our next two round-based maps? We definitely know far more on Terminus right now. Even my ability to name it in comparison to the West Virginia map shows that, so I think that it is likely we will see more information on it soon before we see more Terminus Island intel. It does seem like lots of Modern Warfare 3 Zombies is being used to tease that 90s game. I mean, they've literally given us the name Terminus Island for one, and there is another unreleased intel right now, so just a bit of a spoiler warning. It's not really anything crazy, but just regarding Miller. Of course, many of the intels have been leaking out. It's probably going to get revealed sometime soon, but it's nothing too crazy, but just a spoiler warning before I dive into it. It's very brief though. We can also surmise that something horrible happened to Miller with a mimic during this time. Crystal has a radio where she discusses just how much she hates mimics, and it is very unique in that there are radios where she discusses every enemy type, but only expresses real distaste for the mimic. Could it be simply to give her character some flavor, or could it mean something more? Only time will tell. Maybe she has history with said mimics. Even during that 90s game, maybe something experienced in the West Virginia town map. Anyways, are there any other Crystal lore tidbits that I didn't notice here? Let me know in the comment section down below, or anything else from Cold War Zombies that could suggest more about this upcoming West Virginia experience. Let me know in the comment section down below, because other than that Eddie intel that I've talked about many times, I'm not really sure how much more is mentioned, but there is so much intel in Cold War Zombies that it's so easy to miss things. And if you have any other storyline videos you want to see about Modern Warfare Zombies or Treyarch's next Zombies game, let me know in the comments, or even past Zombies experiences, the Ether story, things that haven't been discussed yet. I'm always open to delving back into that stuff. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not ready for the latest and greatest Call of Duty news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.